Okay, welcome back to the channel, Story Themes and Themes. So, got a couple books for you. Number one, This Is How You Lose Her. This was a personal recommendation and was not one I was too excited about because I had I had an idea of what it was going to be about. So, in my head, I'm thinking it's going to be about how to be the perfect man or something like that. And that was what I thought it was going to be about. And I was like, I'm not trying to read that, to tell you the truth. But because I had that reaction, I said, you know what? Let me read it. That's good. That way I can know what it's about. I like it, I don't like it. So that was my logic behind it. And I'm glad I read it because it's not about that. It's actually more, I would classify this as a coming of age story of a person who became a serial cheater. And his upbringing, his life, just kind of, I would classify as a coming of age story. Some of the influences in his life, how he became who he became. So the first quarter and the last quarter of the book, I could kind of do without, but the middle portion I really enjoyed. It was more of a coming of age story, and it felt very personal. So I'm assuming this is fiction, but it felt like very real. Like it felt like this person could exist. Like this person in his life could be real. It felt very grounded, like very grounded. More so than anything else I've read. Everything else has kind of been more, a little bit more, at the very least, a little bit, if not way, kind of more like out there, you know, in terms of reality. So, but some of the themes I liked in this book were images and how images that we see as kids, children, young adults can really impact our perspectives on how we should behave in the world. And that's what the main character experienced. And I'm assuming that played a part in him becoming the way he was, some part. So that's my take on this. So this is how you lose her. Okay. Next is another personal recommendation. Another personal recommendation, back to back. This is Mr. Mercedes. Yes. So another Stephen King, obviously. Now, I read this, or I tried to read this like a few years ago before I was trying to read fiction, and I just couldn't get into it because I just didn't have my focus wasn't there, honestly. That's pretty much what it was. Because when I tried it again, I was like, okay, this is good. Like, I really enjoyed this book. Um, so what is it about? So I would classify this as kind of like a buddy cop mystery thriller. So pretty much a retired detective gets a letter from someone who committed a crime a year prior that they never caught, and he's trying to figure out who this person is before he strikes again, basically. So he gets the help of a teenager and someone that's related to the case that he couldn't solve. And it's kind of like a buddy cop thing, sort of. That's kind of how I would classify it, mystery. But what did I like? Well, I like the structure of the story because, so in the other thriller mystery, which was The Whisper Man, they give you, well, they don't tell you who, they don't reveal the mystery. You have to read to the end to figure that out, right? But in this, they don't bury the lead. They tell you, so you get a chance to experience the world from this killer's perspective, which is interesting. It's kind of hard to read at times because he's not, you know, he's everything bad about a person you can imagine. That's him, you know. So yeah, he's not a good guy. But it's interesting to see things from his perspective and how warped his mind is and why like he's so messed up because he just thinks his perspectives on things are just really warped. And even though he's a really bad guy, I mean really bad, because they give a backstory, you see that he's almost like a stunted child in the head. So you don't really even see him as an adult, like, because he's kind of like a stunted kid, like that never really matured and kind of stopped growing at a certain age. But yeah, I mean he's rough. He's a rough villain. So yeah, he's very unlikable. Like there's some villain I like likable villains that are charismatic and interesting. And like I love a good villain, but because he's like childlike in the head, you kind of it's not it takes a little bit of sting off of his very low down dirty character. So um, some of the themes that I like in this book are purpose and connection. So the detective, the main character, protagonist of the story, he's a retired detective. He's kind of just let himself go. He just, you know, he's kind of contemplating deleting himself. He's just really depressed. He's divorced. He's just in bad shape. He doesn't talk to his neighbors, friends, whatever, So, but this gave him purpose to try to find this guy, and more than that, that led him to connect with people. And in those connections, he felt more alive and full, and gave him purpose in his life, right? So that was interesting. So I really like this book. It's well paced. There's not like there's not a lot of downtime, a lot of lulls. It doesn't feel like it's too long or too short. It feels like it's a good length. The story moves along fairly well, I think. So I really enjoyed it. One thing I will say, one critique would just be the detective, the main character. He decides to recruit civilians and people that he puts people at risk to go find this guy. And I don't understand why he would he's got to know better than that. Like someone sends you a letter telling you, hey, hey, you didn't catch me, and essentially showing that this guy knows who you are, he knows where you live, he knows your address, he's spying on you, like he knows everything about you, and he's really messed up in the head. And then you go work with a teenager and this other person. Like that's kind of crazy to me. But and because he did that, some bad things happened. So but at the same time, they did narratively explain why, but it still was kind of like I could have used a better reason, I guess, for him to do that. But anyways, overall, I really like Mr. Mercedes. It's a good read, and unique in that sense where the villain, you see things from his perspective, and you really get a chance to see things from his worldview, which is disturbing, but also is interesting as well. So anyway, so that's my take on Mr. Mercedes, and also on This Is How You Lose Her. So I'll catch you on the next one.